And their proof is that Pokemon X and Y didn't have canals, which we see in the trail. It's been confirmed that Pokemon Legends ZA is an action RPG. Even though it was expected, it wasn't confirmed until now. And Centro fakes caught lying again. Without fake leaks, they are clueless. So the first thing I did was I went to the press site to see like if there was any extra details inside of the little blurb about the game. An ambitious new entry into the Pokemon video game series will be released simultaneously worldwide on the Nintendo Switch in 2025. An exciting new adventure awaits players within Lumiose City, where an urban redevelopment plan is underway to shape the city into a place that belongs to both people and Pokemon. So that says nothing about it being an action RPG, which means we just need to go to Nintendo and find the details of this upcoming game where it says Action Adventure RPG. So the part about it not being confirmed until now is just one of Centro's countless lies that many idiots fall into because their only source of Pokemon information is fraudulent content like this from a fake news source. Great. We also have people questioning it. Source, please. And then this, an account I already have blocked for, I guess, fake leaks or information, is the source, even though, again, like, that's not the source. Nintendo is the source. This part could also be concerning. Listed as being a single-player game. So, no multiplayer like Pokemon Legends Arceus, which means what's the point of bringing back Mega Evolution or exploring Mega Evolution if you don't get to do anything with it, and you're completely locked inside of Lumiose City. Now, this could change, like, as more details and stuff is revealed, but that's not a good look. And I wanted to compare this to other details about Nintendo Switch Pokemon titles on the Nintendo website, since, again, they do show these details. So we have genre, action RPG. So they will list action for Pokemon Legends, but what about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? What is that classified as? Adventure. So yeah, Pokemon games, like the standard main series, that's an adventure RPG, and then Pokemon Legends, because of the combat role and the more dynamic exploration and engagement with the world, it's going to be action, so we can see, you know, it's an action-adventure RPG for Pokemon Legends ZA, and there's that information. Which also debunks a lot of the fake fans immediately running cover for Pokemon Legends because we don't know anything about this game. You're not allowed to be critical about it. We don't know how much it's going to be like Pokemon Legends, even though it shares the same name. So yeah, it's actually going to be very similar to Pokemon Legends, but somehow not very far into the past and as a part of creating modern Lumiose City as seen in Pokemon X and Y, which again brings us to other weirdo comments. You have to remember Lumiose on the 3DS had to be shrunk down and limited because it's on the 3DS, not exactly powerful hardware. But I mean, you get a good enough idea for the city and what it has, and they also show the city in the revealed trailer where it's like, okay, this is just Lumiose. And then we got the tower, we got some features, we got some accents, and then we see the plan where it doesn't even look that crazy. Like, this is our entire adventure. Maybe they break it down into fifths. Ooh, we have this area to explore or develop. But then, like, that just takes away from what Pokemon is. What makes Pokemon awesome is that you're training, you're becoming stronger, you're working to become a champion, and then you're testing against the wild Pokemon to encounter and add into your team and strategy, and then the trainers and gym leaders along the way. It's just a constant gameplay loop of growth. How that expresses here, who even knows? And like it says in the Nintendo tweet, that was fairly controversial, says like entirely within Lumiose. So we're not even exploring the Badlands? You know, an aspect that could have made it interesting was like, wait, what's going on with the locked door? Like, are we going to find out about the locked door at the power plant? That was huge over a decade ago when people were like trying to figure out what's going on with all the mysteries of Pokemon X and Y. Mechanically, Lumiose's 3 major towns, north, south, and the center, strung together to make it as big as they could, considering hardware limitations. You know what's bigger? An entire region that has a lot more diversity to explore and all the other like really cool routes inside of Kalos that we're not going to see, and we're going to be surrounded by wastelands. Really cool. Now they have a full fat console power to focus on a single city. The derangement. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Sword and Shield, those must always be bad to put Pokemon Legends Arceus higher on the pedestal and then just not accept that the Nintendo Switch is an objectively underpowered console, and it was underpowered when it came out. 7 years ago, going into over 7.5, almost 8 years when this game finally releases. But then here's the defense. They can have alleys, full buildings, streets and passages they can use. And assuming this is in the past, we'll have plenty of rural space and fields to explore. I mean, where's the rural space and fields? I mean, I guess we have the plazas, and the plaza could feel like its own entire route. Like, you can make it large. You know, if you're just a person going to a large park, you can spend a lot of time in there, sure. But, again, it's like, okay. Or we could have just actually had a Kalos sequel instead of a weird prequel. And then the weird stuff NPCs latch onto. It's likely they'll go for when Paris was becoming the urban Paris we know today around the late 1800s. This is not an 1800s development plan, especially if it's becoming modern Lumios, as seen with very many different aspects. So, you know, we have the Lumios Gem, which is a major, like, technological part. Also, the power plant itself to power the city. That's not an 1800s thing. You know, where's that 1800s video studio or sushi restaurant? The derangement of these kids. Loxton and Noggin have been wrong about everything, but idiots still latch on to the theories that only exist to be inaccurate and jump the shark in clickbait. Wow. Remember the death of Pokemon? This is the end in 2016? Wow. Same thing with Pokemon Legends Arceus. There's no timeline for Pokemon Legends Arceus, and tying it to any period or era of Japan is completely unfounded, even now that, like, the game has been released and everyone's played through every aspect of Pokemon Legends. Any timeline given to Pokemon Legends Arceus will show that it was careless and had no respect for existing Sinnoh lore or any history of the Pokemon world, which is also another reason why Pokemon Legends is complete trash. So, this is going to be 1800s. They have a lot of rural and farmland to use, which they developed in what we know as Paris today. So we'll still have fields and plenty of space while Lumiose City is being built. You know where else we have fields and plenty of space? The rest of the freaking region. That also feels like a really unfun adventure where you're removing the adventure by developing the city, and you're taking away the fields and the forests and the habitats for Pokemon, even though it is about kind of like building a place for people and Pokemon. Okay, quick editing thought. So that technically means the area could be like double sized because there's going to be the undeveloped and then developed area. But then, like, how does that work with catching different species of Pokemon and diversity and action and, like, having a Pokemon mainline game? That's kind of weird, but I guess, like, okay, you have the pre-development, post-development, that kind of expands things. Eh. The carelessness of Pokemon Legends in full display, and these people are so deranged they think they can justify it. Actually, think about the size of Pokemon Legends ZA inside of the Lumiose region. I was thinking about, oh, we got to see the Hisui region. We got to see all of these different areas to explore and the map, and it ended up being fairly underwhelming and small. So, like, even if they try to, like, turn... Like, see, we have this entire region and all these other areas, and then you try to, like, rationalize that into what we see for Pokemon Legends, it can't be as big as everyone is projecting, and it's not even going to take up, like, an entire regional area, which could show multiple environments and stuff like that. Like, it's either not going to make sense to cram more content into a developing Lumiose City, or it's just not going to be enough. I don't get it. That's why didn't they show anything? How confused is Game Freak on this project? How about more derangement from fake Pokemon fans that refuse to cope? Literally, the map they show is more expandable than X and Y. X and Y didn't have bridges with canals. This is in defense of a comment that's trying to make the Lumiose City in Pokemon Legends ZA much more than it is. You honestly think that the game will be that small? That Lumiose won't be big? Look at the map! It's gonna be huge! Okay, let's look at the map again, and then we can compare it to existing maps of Lumiose City. It's mostly there. And their proof is that Pokemon X and Y didn't have canals, which we see in the trail. Oh. It's the same Lumiose City. This is also another thing I've seen from the idiots that still think this is going to take place in the future, because in Pokemon X and Y, modern Lumiose doesn't have canals. It's in the freaking maps. That blue represents a canal. And as you can see, we still have the main breakups and the main plazas and like the 5 pieces of Lumio City. Yeah, it's condensed for the 3DS, sure. But I mean, there's only so much you can do here. And that's why I laugh at this. This person's like, oh, it's going to be a full game. It's going to be a wonderful explorative experience because there's going to be alleys and buildings. And some people are even saying, well, Paris has a vast underground sewer network. Great. We're going to explore the sewers, and that's going to add such a massive area of gameplay that it justifies Pokemon Legends ZA only taking place inside of Lumio City. You know where else we can find, like, streets, passages, even sewer exploration, caves? The rest of the freaking region. And sure, the city can be large, but the more you think about it, the more tedious and awful the gameplay loop sounds. Wow, we get to go down alley number 4. And then we get to go down alley number 17. And then we get to go into empty building number 13 to find a note that takes us to the sewers that are being developed or something. Doesn't sound fun or interesting. And that's where it's like, yeah, we've actually already seen a large chunk of Lumios and developing it in an action RPG way. That just sounds weird and confused, but that's also what Pokemon Legends was. There's nothing to be excited about when it comes to Pokemon Legends ZA. It's weird because people are saying, oh, you can't say anything negative, you can't be critical about this because we haven't seen any gameplay. But then these are the people that are overly worshipping it off of the name of a failed game alone with Pokemon Legends Arceus. So like, it's Legends, therefore it's automatically good, even though we don't know anything about it, except all the details show that it's not going to be good. It's a negative thing. It's a concern if gameplay isn't shown. It doesn't matter that's coming out in 2025. There should be concepts. There should be a little bit more that they can actually show. And they did it for Pokemon Legends Arceus when they had that Pokemon Presents for the 25th anniversary. And then they also even talked about the gameplay and showed off the Pokeball to kind of get a vibe as to what to expect for Pokemon Legends Arceus. Well, this, they don't know what they're doing so little that we have nothing about it. And then it's going to just be the same lame, pandering fan service that makes it even more confused and weak, where it's like, oh, easy, guys. And then I don't even know why they say simultaneously worldwide in 2025. Is that to, like, capture the same vibes of when X and Y came out, and that was the first simultaneous launch? So weird. So out of place. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, there we go, guys. That's the current state of the shenanigans going on with Pokemon Legends ZA. People are just so... But there we go, guys. That's what's going on with the current state of shenanigans with Pokemon Legends ZA. News is confused because the Pokemon community is majority idiots at this point. Like 90% NPCs that have zero critical thinking skills. They want stupid theories to be real more than reality, and they just cannot function because they're terminally online. And then the fake news sources that they rely on are just completely incompetent. And if these are the people that are already defending Pokemon Legends ZA, that has to be more evidence that's going to be an awful game. So, hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.